Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to this your YouTube channel. Today I have a very interesting and very useful video for everyone working with IDs and ABB relays. I would like to tell you the following, okay? Today the plan is to perform a factory reset of the ABB REF 630 feeder protection relay. I would like to start this video saying thank you very much to ABB people. Thank you very much for the company for the strong support and helping and supporting all the initiatives that we are doing at the protection lab at my protection lab. Um, I'm really proud and thanks for all the support, especially to the ABB support team at Finland and here in Norway, specifically all the colleagues Skien. Sorry about my Norwegian pronunciation. Before I start this video, I would like to say that this factory reset is something that it was my personal request to do it. I mean, it's myself, the only person responsible for this, and and the idea is to um, get back all the factory resets settings of this relay. And during the process, I learned a few things that I thought it's quite useful for many people working in this area. Well, but before we go into business, um, I would like to say again, thank you very much for the collaboration to ABB. And please follow all my documents at ResearchGate and GitHub, and also stay tuned here at YouTube, okay? But what is the video today? Today, again, we are looking into perform a factory reset on this ABB REF 630. And before I start, I would like to clarify the following. I would like to say that I am the only responsible of this factory reset, nobody else. And I would like to clarify that my videos and documentations are not substitute at all of the original ABB documentation. I highly suggest that if you are not qualified to perform this kind of activities, please ask to the ABB support team and they will be very happy to help you, okay? To perform the factory reset, you require a software, a specialized software that is the 630 SUT Lite. To get access to that software, you need to discuss that with the ABB support team. Don't ask me about the 630 SUT Lite. Go directly to the ABB support team. And finally, this video is specifically designed for perform the factory reset, but using a personal computer. In this case, the operating system is Windows 10 and using a platform that is based on Intel Core i7 processor. Well, what is the first step? Well, the first step is, as I said before, you need the specialized software, the 630 SUT Lite. When you get the software, of course, you will get the installer, okay? And the installer is basically a software that is having all the information to put the software inside your computer and make this work, okay? In this case, the software that we need to use is the 630 SUT Lite, okay? It's a software that is a utility that is used for several features. One of the features that you can use in this software is to the factory reset, and that is my intention with this software right now. The first step, as I said before, is to install the 630 SUT Lite. It's extremely simple. If you get by email or you get from downloading somewhere, especially the ABB library and so on, you will receive this file. You will have this file, the 630 SUT Lite. And in this case, I have the version 2020-07.24. If you double click the software, the icon, sorry, if you double click the icon, of course, you will have the possibility to execute this software, okay? What you need to do is double click, and automatically when you double click this software, it will open a Windows, and it will start a software for a wizard for the installation, okay? When you double click, you will receive the first window that is welcoming you to the 630 series software update. And this is just a presentation talking about that you are ready to start the installation, okay? What you need to do here at the very beginning is just press this button here, down here, Next. And then you will be asked about choosing the type of setup that you want to do. If you are not so expert, you can go directly and say full installation. That means complete, and all the features will be installed in your computer. Of course, if you select the complete installation, it will require more space in your hard drive, but it's the safe option if you are not top expert. If you are top expert, or if you are totally clear about what you want to do, what you need to select is custom installation. And if you do so, the software will ask you to select what features you are interested to install. In this case, using clicks, you will be able to select the things that you want to install, okay? Using the complete or using the custom installation, what you need to do is then press Next. And from there, the installation process of the 630 SUT Lite will start. And as you can see here on the on the right hand side, you will see the process of updating components, registration, installing, and so on. After a few seconds, depending of the configuration of your computer, I mean the performance of your computer, CPU, memory, RAM, and so on, and processes, after a few seconds, you will see this window that is displayed to you, and it's just to let you know that the installation process is complete. And right now the software is installed and ready for use in your computer. To close this window and finish the installation process, the setup wizard, what you need to do is basically press finish, and that's all. Then we have a second step. What is the second step? The second step is that in order to reset to the factory settings your REF 630, you must be able to have communication, direct communication with the relay. And the easiest and faster way to do it is using Ethernet connection, TCP/IP connection. In this case, ABB suggests that you use the Ethernet port that is located in the front of the REF 630. We are using a classical Ethernet cable that is inserted into the RG45 connector at the front, but we need to be sure about the IP configuration. And to do so is extremely simple. Now, what we need to do is go into the relay. And as you can see here, we are in the main menu of the REF 630. And what we need to do here is going into configuration. Then we select communication and then go into the folder for TCP IP configuration. When you are there, when you are inside the TCP IP configuration, there are three options: from panel, LAN 1, and get away. In this case, we are interested on the IP address of the front panel. If your REF 630 is using the default configuration, the IP address must belong to the 192.168.0.254. This is the default configuration. This is the factory settings. However, if you have your REF 630 working inside a private network, a local area network, probably you have a different IP, and you need to have this IP address set to inside the same configuration of your computer in order to establish the configuration. However, I will show you in a minute a video where you can understand and see how to perform the configuration step by step in the real device. Well, in front of you, you have this ABB REF 630, the feeder protection relay of ABB. What is the plan? The plan today is that I will use the human machine interface. I will use the human machine interface in order to check what is the IP address of the connector, the front port, Ethernet connector port here at the front of this ID. The procedure is very simple. As you must be aware, there are several buttons here at the front panel that you can use to navigate and move through all the menus. And the first step is very simple. What we will do is use the arrow going down and go to configuration. After we arrive to configuration, then I will use the right arrow here to go inside the folder. And as you can see here at the top, I am inside the folder called configuration. In this configuration folder, you will find several items. And in this one, I will go for communications, and I will use the arrow pointing down, and I will go to communication. When I arrive over there, I will go inside that folder. For that reason, I will use the right arrow. And right now you are inside the communication. Here at the top of the display, you can see the location that you are in. In this case, we are at main menu, configuration, and communication. In this case, I will go now inside the TCP IP configuration. As you must be aware, this RG45 port over there, Ethernet port, is used for TCP IP communication. And I will use again the right arrow. And you can see that now I am inside the folder for the TCP IP configuration. There are three options over there. The first one is related with the front port, the one that we are interested in today, this one. But also remember, this device has also one more Ethernet connection that is located at the rear of the device. If you are interested on that, TCP/IP configuration, well, you must go inside the LAN one. Okay. Also, there is a possibility that you configure the gateway. I will not go in that today. What I will do is going inside the folder for the front panel. And as you can see here, this is the classical configuration. The IP address is the classical 192.168.0.254. I repeat, it's the default configuration is the IP address 192.168.0.254. And of course, the mask is the traditional one, 255, 255, 255.0. In this case, what I will do is, as you must be aware, this device is installed at my lab, and inside the lab I have a local network, and the IP addresses inside that domain are a bit different to the one that is located by default. For that reason, I need to modify this IP address. And that is what I will show you quickly here. To modify the IP address for the from port, what we need to do is use the right arrow here, and sorry, we need to use enter, and enter will allow me to go into edit mode. Okay, right now, as you can see, the color has changed, and now you are located at the very last number of the IP address. I need to modify is this one that is 0, and I will use the location, the IP for my local area network. And I will modify that 0, and instead of 0, I will use a number 1. To do that, what I need to do is I can use the arrows. You can see here how the arrow increase the number or decrease the number. But right now, I have over there the number 1 that I am interested. Okay, what I will do now is enter. And as you can see in black color, we have the new IP address is displayed here, 192.168.1.254. However, there is something that you must be aware. At this moment, what you have done is modify the IP address, but this IP address is not saved into the memory, into the configuration memory of this ID. For that reason, what we will do now is going back, using here this arrow, going back, and now when we are trying to go to the main menu, you will realize that the device is asking, okay, you make few changes inside the configuration, and would you like to save those changes? And I will say yes. And to do that, what I need to do is confirm using the enter button. And right now, the configuration is safe. Let me go inside and see. Let me go to configuration. Now, communication, now TCP IP from panel. And as you can see over here at the top, we are inside the IP address that I already defined for all of you, okay? Well, let me go to the main menu here. And right now we have, I have shown you how to move through the different menus inside the REF 630, and I went to the location for the IP address of this Ethernet port at the front of the ID, and I changed the IP address. In this case, I am using a different IP address because this device is located inside my local area network. And for that reason, I am making the changes to adapt the device that can be communicated inside inside the Ethernet. Okay. Well, let's move to the next step. Well, now the third step is very simple. What you need to do is to connect a PC. In this case, I'm using a personal computer, a laptop, and connect directly the Ethernet port from the computer using an Ethernet cable to the front connector of this REF 630. What I'm trying to say is now we have a laptop here on the right hand side. Inside this laptop, using Windows 10 in my case, I installed the software, the specialized software, the utility software, the 630 SUT Lite, and using an Ethernet cable, using the classical RG45, and this Ethernet cable, I am connecting at the front port of the REF 630. In this case, you must be aware that the personal computer and the REF 630, all of them must be inside the same local area network. And in this case, I am using Windows and I am setting the laptop IP address as a fixed IP address. In this case, the fixed IP address is 192.168.0.100. However, again, this is depending of your settings, depending of your IP address that you have. What you need to be sure is that your computer must have at least these three set of figure similar to the configuration that you have in the front port of the REF 630. Well, now we need to do the fourth step, and the fourth step is extremely simple. What you need to do is activate the FTP server at your ID, the REF 630, and the process is extremely simple. What you need to do is reboot your ID, in this case the REF 630. You reboot your REF 630, and during the booting process, you press and hold the two buttons at the front panel, the menu and the question mark button. When you press and hold those buttons and the device is rebooting, after a few seconds, you will see that a very specialized window will show in the screen at the front panel of the REF 630, and that is the maintenance menu. The maintenance menus is dedicated for very specialized activities. As you can see over there, the maintenance menu, there are 5 options over there. The first one is activate the FTP server. FTP server is one way to move files inside computer environments, and that is the option that we need to activate. But coming back to the maintenance menu, there are 4 more options aboard the ID update, display the IP address. You can see to check the IP address of your device, or also option number 4 is to view system events log. And finally, option 5 is a password protect option, that is the recovery menu. And there are 5 options, and also you can continue in the startup process just pressing clear. But in this case, we are inside the maintenance menu because we are interested on activating the FTP server. That is the option number 1. And what we need to do is go into the option number 1 and press enter. You must remember enter is the button located here. We press that, and suddenly the screen will show you a message that say, please confirm. Would you like to activate the FTP server? And there are 2 options, OK or cancel. In this case, we are interested on activating the FTP server. For that reason, we keep here the option OK. And what we will do is press enter again. Then for a few seconds, very short time period, you will see that on the top of the screen, a short message will appear saying FTP server started. That means that this ref 630 is enabled to perform the file transfer protocol. I mean, the transfer of different files between the ID and the computer. Well, we are almost done, and then we need to continue with the starting up of this ID. And that is extremely simple because we have a button here on the right hand side, and that is the clear button. If you press now the clear button at the maintenance menu, well, that menu will disappear, and now the device, the ID, will continue the started up process. Now what you need to do is wait that the device is ready, and we will go for the next step. Well, in front of you, you have the ABB REF 630. As you can see, in this case, the ID is off. And the reason is that there is not electrical supply, there is not power supply to this ID. Because the plan is that we want to make this ID going into the maintenance menu. Of course, if you are familiar with the ABB Reliance series 630 series, you must be aware that when you are performing some kind of task, you need to go into a very specific menu that allow you to make some configurations, and that is the case for the maintenance menu. The maintenance menu is basically an option that you can enable and you can access, specifically you can access during the booting up of the ID. In this case, the procedure is very, very simple. What we need to do is here at the human machine interface of this ref 630, there are a couple buttons that you must be aware. One of them is the menu, and during the process of starting up the ABB ref 630, if we press and hold down those buttons, the relay will go automatically and display the maintenance menu. And that is the plan right now. What I will do is I will energize the ID, and then during the booting process, during the starting up process, I will press DOS key, and then we will go into the maintenance menu. Okay, let's apply the supply. Then I will go here and press those two buttons. And as you can see, the relay is performing the checkup and starting up, but I am firmly pressing and holding those two buttons, and here we are. As you can see over there, we have the maintenance menu. We have here the maintenance menu, and as you can see, there are 5 options over there. The first option is to activate the FTP server, and the second one is to abort the ID update. The third is to display the IP address. This is an alternative way to display the IP address of this device. Number 4, the fourth option is to view system events log. And finally, we have a password protect option that is the recovery menu. We have 5 options in the menu, and then if you want to keep going or continue to the startup process, what you need to do is just press clear. Okay. Well, today this video is basically to activate the FTP server. That is option number 1. And to do so is extremely simple. As you are aware, we can navigate into the relay using the arrow. And right now I am inside the option number 1, and the ID is asking me to confirm if I am interested on activating the FTP server option. And by default, the cursor is located at OK, and I will confirm pressing enter. And very quickly, you can see over there that the FTP server option is enabled right now in this ID, the REF 630 from ABB, the feeder protection. Well, right now we activated the FTP server, and what I will do now is keep going with the starting up process of this ID. To do so, I'm following the instruction described here at the human machine interface. I will press clear, and as you can see, now the ID is starting up. And this REF 630 is going through the process of checking internally, preparing everything, and making ready for be ready for work. Okay, that is starting up. Few more seconds. You can see that the ready LID is blinking. In a minute, everything should be fine, and the green LID should be fixed. And here we are. Right now you can see ready option is fine, and then we have the full menu of this REF 630. That means that we are ready for business. We are ready to the next step. Step number 5 is extremely simple. The step number 5 is now going back to the laptop that you use, or the computer PC that you use to install the 630 SUT Lite, okay? And now what we will do is use that software that we previously installed in the step number 1 and perform the serious factory reset. Well, Now what you need to do is open the 630 SUT Lite tool, and that is extremely simple because you will have an icon, and you can find in Windows 10 that icon. Going through your program files, you will find a folder that is called ABB. Inside that folder called ABB, you will find this icon that I am showing here on the right hand side, on the left hand side, the 630 SUT. If you click over there, few seconds later, you will have this window appear in your computer screen. And in this case, this is the software. This is the 630 SUT Lite. And the first things that you must notice is that you must define the IP address of your ID. In this case, this is the REF 630, and I already set the IP address of the front panel at 192.168.1254. But that is the case, that is my personal case, because this device is installed inside my lab. If you have a different IP address, remember you must use the proper IP address and be sure that the computer and the ID, they are inside the same domain, okay? Just for information, on the top panel here of on the top section here of the 630 SUT, there are three different menus: File, Tools, and Help. If you open File, you will see there are several options, including write to the ID or write to the ID or read from the ID. Also, there is a second menu that we will be using, and that is Tools. And you can use this menu in order to do several important activities, sensible activities with your ID. For instance, you can use for factory reset, and that is the option that we will be using today. But you can use for doing other things, like, for instance, update the firmware, that we will be doing that in future videos. Finally, there is another menu, and that is Help. And the first option here at the top of the Help menu is to look into the ID version and information. Well, today we are interested on resetting this device to the factory configuration, and what we will do is something very simple. What we will do is basically we will go to Tools and then select Factory Reset and press OK. And when you press that button over there, Factory Reset, the 630 SUT will come back to you and say, are you sure that you want to do a factory reset on your ID IP address 192.168.1254? And of course, if you are totally right and sure that you want to do this option, you will say yes, indeed. But if you are not sure, what you need to do is press no, and you will go back and you will decide if you are doing the right or wrong. Okay. But then, if you are totally clear about what you want to do, you will say yes, and then the process of coming back the factory settings to your ID will start. The first step is the software will send several files to the ID, and after a few seconds you will see here that the factory reset is successfully done, and now the ID is rebooting automatically. That is the final step, and you can wait because the ref 630 automatically few seconds later will reboot and it will restart at the factory conditions. Okay, then you are ready to use your ID with the factory settings. Now you can use the software, the PCM 600, and you can retrieve your protection settings or do any other communication activities with your device. We will be showing you several other videos about PCM 600 later, and please keep in touch because in few seconds you will see how to perform this in the real device, and I will show you step by step how to reset this using the real relay. Okay, right now before I attempt any communication between the ID and my personal computer, I must clarify that in this case I am using the Ethernet port that is located at the front of the Ref 630. I am using the RG45 connector here, using the cable and going into my local private local network. Okay, and as you must remember, we changed the IP address. In this case, the IP address is easy to find: communication, TCP/IP, front port, and as you can see, it's very specific: 162.169.1.254. And what I will do now is I will use the Windows prompt in order to test if there is a basic connectivity and communication between the ID and my computer. And what I will do is one pin to 192.168.1.254. And right now, as you can see, there is connectivity between the ID and my computer. As a consequence, I am totally sure that there is connection between the ID, this ABB REF 630, and my personal computer. Well, as you must be aware, I am interested on making a factory reset of all settings of this ID. And to do so, what I will do is I will go to the 630 SUT, the software provided by ABB, and use this software for a factory reset. Okay. If you follow all the steps that I already described in this video and in the presentation and documentation that I provide, uh, you can see over here, and this is the 630 SUT software. And as you can see, in this case, the IP address that is presented here for the host is the IP address, the default IP address that is coming with the Ref 630. What I will do now is, of course, because we are inside my private network, what I am doing is using the IP address that I define for the front panel from this front connector here, and that is 192.168.1.254. And now, as you can see, this software has several options. Okay, uh, there are several options in order to transfer files and read files, but today what I will do is something that is probably very simple, and that is the factory reset. As you can see, the software, the 630 SUT, you go to tools and then you go to factory reset. When you present that, when you press that button, the software realizes that you are using an IP address that is different to the original IP address by default. And as a consequence, you are using a settings that is not a default. And when you perform the factory reset, the IP address will change to the original one. And the problem is that you will lose connectivity between the ID and the computer. But there is a problem that we can solve extremely simple. At this moment, what I will do is I will say, okay, let's confirm the factory reset, and I will press yes here. Okay, right now the software is verifying the device, verifying the device, sending and receiving information, and they say that at this moment the ID has been the process of factory reset has finished, and now the ref 630 is ready for rebooting. And that is what is happening now. If you look over here, automatically the device is starting up and is behind this screen here that I am using for the video. Okay. Um, okay, right now the factory resets. We are resetting all the settings of this device. This is cleaning up everything. Cleaning up everything. One of the things that is set back to default is the IP address. Um, as a consequence, we are losing the connectivity between the software and the computer, and also the 630 SUT. For that reason, let's do the following. This IP address here it's not longer valid because the ref 630 is coming back to the default. That means that is coming back to 192 1680254. However, what I will do is I will wait that the relay start up again, and I will go and check the IP address, and then I will change the front panel, the front port IP address to the IP address that I am using inside my private network. Let's wait a few more seconds. The relay is starting up again, and let's see. Then when the device is ready, we will check if there is connectivity, and then we will perform a reading of the characteristics or features in this device. Okay, let's wait. Okay, now the relay is ready. Now we have here the relay is already started up. And if we go here to configurations And now we are going into TCP IP from panel. As you can see, it came back to the default settings, but I will change back, and right now I put the IP address that we are using inside the lab, 192.168.1.254, and now I will go back and save the configuration. And now what we need to do is the following. Let's check the connectivity using again the command prompt. And now I am opening the command prompt. In this case, I will do the ping 192.168.1.254. And voila, we have connectivity. And now the factory reset is done, and I put back the new IP address. And what I will do is, yes, we are reading here the ID configuration. As you can see over here, this device is having a relative old firmware version. And what I will do in the next video is I will show you how to perform the upgrade of the firmware of this REF 630. But for the moment, we are totally happy that we have been able to reset to factory settings this ID. Well, we are near to close this video, to finish this video. And today we have a very exciting, a very special live video. And today we performed the factory reset of the ABB REF 630. And we have now the device ready to use with the factory configuration. I would like to clarify again that this video is created by my own responsibility. I decide to reset the ID to factory conditions, and the ABB technical support team, they has been extremely helpful, and they provide to me with the proper way to do it. And in this learning process, I realized that it will be helpful for some people not in contact with the real relays to have the experience and see how to do the the factory reset. And again, this video is not a substitute of the official documentation provided by ABB. My idea here is basically two objectives. The first one is to show people not directly connect with with the protection devices, to have more hands-on experience with the protection relays. And some people that they have low to medium level of understanding about protections at the field, they can speed up the learning process. However, this video is not intended for professional or for top expert on protection devices. I know that some of my friends must be laughing at the moment, but this video is basically just for illustrative purposes. If you find this video useful, or if you want to keep in touch, please subscribe to this your YouTube channel, and I will be more than happy to stay in touch. Thank you very much again for watching the video, and that's all for today. I will see you in the next video. A couple videos coming, one upgrading the firmware of the REF 630, and one more working with the PCM 600. Thank you very much again to ABB for the support. That's all for today. Bye now.